Wilson Morales from Black Film TV talking to Jordan E. Cooper regarding his film Uppercut. It's not, this is something very different for you. When people think of your name and they think the work you've done, you're like, how the hell? He must need a check. Just kidding. What did that you to take on this role?
Yes. You know what it really was is the script came across my desk and I watched Torsten's the German version of this film, which this was him like Americanizing it. And I watched it and then I read the script. And you know what really stuck out to me was the ability to really stretch myself as an actor, the ability to really like do something that challenged me and allowed me to like not only transform myself physically, but just get into a whole new mindset and a new character that I haven't played before, you know? And that was really, really cool because I think that's the thing that every actor dreams of is like, how am I going to stretch myself? How am I going to pull something out of my bag of tricks that I've never pulled out before?
Talk about stretch physically. You're playing the role of a boxer. Did you work out? Did you have to go to the gym? It's like you're gonna have to have do some of those scenes.
Yeah.
You have to look like you're a boxer.
Yeah, yeah. I had to train for like about 6 months. I trained and tried to really get that cardio in to build up that stamina and learn some boxing techniques. And as we got closer, I did some more training with some boxers. And even the boxer that I fight in the film is real boxers. I'm the only actor in the ring, real boxers. So it was special and it was like I came in feeling like the underdog because they're like, who's this actor, who's, you know what I mean, it's just like you're an actor. And then I think by the end when I left set, I definitely earned their respect. Definitely earned their respect.
You're working with Thorsten. You said you've seen his film before. What did you get out of his direction, out of this film, that helps you out skill set wise as an actor moving forward to whatever project you do next?
Yeah, I think one thing that I really appreciated about Twisted was not only, his openness and how he holds a set, but also has a very strong vision. But he leaves room for humanity in a really special way. He leaves room for you to like come in and put the glove on, and how would Payne do this and how would Payne walk like that, and it's a really special time and a really special process. I was glad I was able to be a part of it.
Mhm. You don't have any scenes together, but Ving Rhames in the movie, we know his legendary career. Were you able to talk to him on set at any point just to get some guidance or just some feedback as to being in this business long for a long time?
Well, I wish I was so upset we didn't have any scenes together. And then by the time he wrapped, he was off shooting some movie in some other part of the world. But it was special even to share the screen with him for sure.
But you do have scenes with Joanna Cassidy, who also has been in the game a long time.
Yeah.
It's like outside of Thorsten, your scenes are with Luigi and Joanna. So like Joanna's been in the game a long time. We
Oh
all
yeah.
remember Blade Runner and other films she's done in the past.
Yeah, yeah, no, she's an OG. She's an OG. And it was really special to do scenes with her and Louis, but like specifically for Joanna, there was almost like a matriarchal kind of energy that she had, especially even in the role in the character that she was playing. The moments where I go over to the side of that ring and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how we're gonna make it. I gotta make it through. And she just gives me that energy in her eyes of like, you can do anything you put your mind to. Go back in there. And so that was special to have for sure.
How would you best describe the film? People say uppercut, obviously the poster's boxing. People are going to expect to see a fight or so forth, but it's much more than that.
Yeah, yeah. I would say that it's a story about, determination and really self-persistence, you know what I mean? And really being able to push yourself no matter what people say, no matter, how people look at you and say, no, you can't do that because it's never been done before. I think it's really about that. It's a story about persistence and being able to push through and believe in yourself when nobody else does.
Hmm. Where did you guys shoot the film? Was it overseas
No, we shot it in Jersey, actually.
in Jersey?
Jersey. In Jersey, we shot it there. Well, which was really cool.
That's not so bad. And then, like I said, you still have Miss Pat going on, a couple of more,
It's season five
it's
right now. We're shooting right
season
now.
five. It's not easy to get a season five on any network.
Yeah,
So like it's a testimony to not only the writing, but the responses from the audience and to BET. Let's be real. BET doesn't always green light unless it's a Tyler Perry series or
Right.
Carl Weber. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah,
Anybody
true.
else is like, let's see what we can do.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's special. It's really special. We're their longest running non-Tyler, comedy, which is really dope. It's something to be proud of for sure, for sure. It's really and this cast is amazing. And right when you think, it feels like we get crazier and crazier each season. We have some really special guest stars this season that I can't wait for people to find out about. But we're having a good time over here. We're having a good time.
It's the first show to get an Emmy nomination in BET's history. Did anything change after the nomination, whether it be for the writing or how you wanted to do? Did you still want to play your own game, like do what you do to make what makes the show? But does that get into the mindset of people like, oh, let's see if we can up the ante?
Not really. I think, nothing's happening that wasn't already in the recipe, but I do think what it does do is that it reminds people that like, oh, you're being watched. Like it matters what you put out into the world. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that's really, really special. And the stories that we get to tell with that knowledge is really, really dope. So I'm glad we're back at it. We're shooting right now for the next 6 I think we got like 6 more weeks, but like it's so cool to shoot with a live audience, and there's nothing like that energy too. There's nothing like
Mhm. Then you have, you once did a Broadway show, obviously with Lee Daniels. We can't make it seem like it's one and done, and it's not easy to get back on a horse. Is there another project you got coming on that you'd like to get on Broadway?
Yes, I have another play that's coming out that we're gonna be doing this. It hasn't been announced yet, but we're planning this fall, I believe, in New York. So we're gonna see what happens. We're gonna see what happens. But that, and then I also got Freaky Friday coming out, Freaky Friday 2 coming out in August, which I'm really excited about that too. Freakier Friday is what they're calling it. So that's all good stuff, all stuff to look forward to.
So with you wearing many hats, which one do you prefer, behind, in front, or behind the screen, behind the
Uh,
scene?
Hard question. That's a hard question. I feel like because I love both equally. That's a hard question. I think it also depends on the project.
Well, think about it. If you're an actor, you're like, okay, you're one of many actors.
Yeah.
But as a writer of a show and somebody who's a playwright, that gets a lot more attention above a lot more than just being an actor. If you're going to be an actor, it's like that's good, and it gives you visibility in front of the screen. But I prefer if you're behind the scene because you're able to look what you've created so far that's been
I
lasting.
love it. I love creating. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like really being able to build a world for people to live in and do things. Yeah, it's really special. It's really, really special.
At the end of the day, Uppercut's gonna be hitting out. What's a good reason? I always said there's a glut of projects out there, whether it be in theaters or on streaming channels or on cable. You never know. There's at least 10 or 15 projects out there. What's gonna get people to come out and see Uppercut?
Yeah, I think there's multiple things. One, to see Ving Rhames be amazing because Ving Rhames is just, he's like, he's really putting on that James Earl Jones coat. He's really taking on that James coat. And then also just to see a really dope story about, determination and pushing through and pushing, reminding ourselves that like, you can do anything you put your mind to if you really want to. You just got to, you teach people how to believe in you when you believe in yourself. Yeah.
Well, Jordan, congrats on the role. Congrats on the film. Obviously, we're here to support the different endeavors that you do. Keep it going. I'm sure we'll talk down the road. You got projects coming out, as you mentioned. We'll talk again. Have yourself a great day.
Absolutely.
Miles from Black Film TV talking to Joanna Cassidy regarding the film Uppercut. Hello, Miss Cassidy. How's it going?
Very well, thank you. And yourself? You good?
Good.
Great.
Obviously, you've been in this game a long period of time. What went into saying yes to taking on this project?
Well, I just there are films that are head films and there are films that are physical films from at least my way of looking at it. And I forget the heels, get me out of that tight dress. I want to be in pants and I can move around and I can deal in in a sporty world. I like the world of boxing. I actually even I found my gloves from, I don't know how long ago. I don't even want to guess, but yeah, I love that world. So
It's funny. It's not that often when I saw you and you're like, oh, she's the trainer. How often do you see women trainers on male boxers? That's a story itself, especially when you talk about what this film represents. Um, and then you look at it, it's like, okay, here you are training. What's your experience of boxing? Have you gone to a fight? Did you talk to any trainers to get an idea? I always wonder how much stock do actors take into the characters they're playing?
I trained for 2 years with uh, a lightweight champion. Um, that's why I still have the gloves. And I love the boxing gyms. I like the smell. I like the energy. I like, what happens, the camaraderie. I like the tinge of, the violence that we never get to express. Not that people need to. I mean, we're evolved hopefully beyond that, that we use our minds instead of our fists. But there's a there's a sweat, there's a passion for life that when you're in a gym, you feel it and you can enjoy it. I mean, I enjoyed it. So I at the time when I was boxing with Terry, I spent a lot of time hanging out in the corner with the guys, coming back to recover, get their cuts fixed up. And I also rewatched all the Rocky films and every film I could watch that was boxing. Obviously De Niro, watched him boxing to take it in, get that feeling in there.
I actually saw De Niro yesterday. That was funny how you mentioned his name. I
Oh,
literally saw.
really?
I went to the premiere of his new series, Zero Day.
Okay. How was it? I hope it's
It- it's
great.
it's fascinating. It's fascinating. It's funny. You named after goes. I talked to him yesterday.
Huh?
But obviously, you mentioned his name, and I think about your career. You've been in the game a long time. What goes into saying yes to the projects you take? Is it the role, who you working with, the story itself, or the time frame or location in which you can do it?
A lot of it's location, because my children are out and gone. I have animals, but that's handleable, and I love to be out there. Take me anywhere. I'll go anywhere.
I love to travel.
Yeah, I love to travel and see new things. I've been blessed with being able to experience a lot of life that way. I want to know who the DP is. I want to see the filmmaker's previous work. I want to have a feeling that I can trust them. I can trust them with, all the things that I want to do and my vulnerability. Of course, being in a film with other actors who are terrific is very exciting. I mean, being Ving, I've been a fan of for years and years and years, and Louis was adorable. So, you know, all
Mhm.
good, all good.
I like to think that before it gets to you in terms of the script, that you have a team and they're looking out for your best interest as far as y'all think you're good. Somebody's gonna say no before you say it, you know, as opposed to like you're on your own. You're like, oh, and you're getting stuff left and right. Um, so when you're on, obviously you don't have scenes with everybody that's in this movie, but obviously you mentioned the works of the other people in here. Is there a period of time when because you're not in every scene with everybody that you guys get together? Whether it be pre-production or after the production is done, so that way there's a chemistry and you guys know that you guys did the film.
Ordinarily there is. With this film, though, they shot half of it in LA, and then the actors went into a strike. So they were trying to figure out how on earth they were going to get my scenes done with the boxer. So because I was on the SAG after board for 25 years, I was able to facilitate that and move that, the rest of the filming up. They had to shoot it in New York though, so and it was really last minute. I mean, I didn't even know I was going to be shooting until like 2 days ahead of time. So the pressure was on. And to answer your question, I love to hang out with actors. There are some actors that don't. They want to stay in their character. Fine with me. But I know from my own experience, I can be playing a murderer and laughing my ass off 2 minutes before they call roll, and I'll get into character.
You look back, what haven't you done that you want to do? Like what's something like, whether it be comedy, superhero, play a murderer and so forth. When you look back to say like, okay, what have you've not done that you would think would be so different?
Well, I've been killed 16 times. I've been
You know, the
murdered, and
difference.
and I have played murderers. I think I'd like to be a superhero. I really would. I think that'd be great fun. I love the idea of being a role model, and I have been in my career. I know so many young women came up to me after I did 240 Robert, and I flew a helicopter and rappelled and did all those things. There were young girls that said, I went into the business, after watching you. I became a whatever they are, but well, mine was emergency services ESD department, but they became paramedics and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I like to be big. I'm a big lady. I mean, this is why is so great. I'm not a little bitty thing. I like to be large.
You think about this particular film. We got a glut of films and projects that's out there, whether it be in theaters, on streamers, and so forth. That every week there's at least 10 projects out there, and not every one gets to be like top three at the box office and so forth. But it's all about the marketing. What's going to get an audience to come out and see Uppercut?
Ving Rhames, boxing, for some reason, the women in boxing this last year has been kind of a phenomena. I mean, it's unusual to have women in the ring, but there's a lot of ideas circulating around that, and I think, strangely, there is I don't know, how do you call them, tentacles or water, or like the word for it, when there's when thinking sort of, it's extended out there, and there's people are picking up vibes and so on, and all of a sudden, I think they're curious. I think maybe they're a little curious about what I'm doing in a boxing movie. So
And you're like, hey, they see obviously there's some names that no one's going to be recognized. Ving Rhames is the name of the dog. Say, okay, we know Ving. He's going to
Sure.
appear in Mission Impossible. Like, oh, Joanna Cassidy. Depending on the age range, they're going to know you from somewhere.
Yeah, yeah,
These is like, if you have to say, they may not, they see you with the blonde hair, goes, I thought she was a redhead. It's like, no,
yeah.
some
I
time
know.
ago. It's like she changes up. she,
Changes up.
she
Yeah.
changes up, so they'll figure it out and see what there is out there. Where do we see you next after this movie?
Oh, several places. There's a movie coming out called Northbound that I did with Bruce Dern. There's a movie that's coming out I'm very excited about. It's called Killing Faith with Guy Pearce and Bill Pullman.
And the Wanda Wise. I
Wanda
met that the
Wise.
other day. Yes.
Yep. And let's see, there's something, gosh, I just did a Matlock. I've got 5 films that I'm looking at right now. I'm not stopping. I'm
Well,
not
see,
stopping
when
till
you have to think about like what's next, that's a good thing as opposed to like I gotta wait and see. So it's a good
right.
thing you can start naming things like what else you got in the can. Hey, if it's
Yeah.
not on the big screen, it's on a small screen. Right now we have Uppercut. Congrats on your role. Obviously, it's good to see you on the screen again. We're
Thank
gonna
you.
see you again. So keep it going. I'm sure we'll talk down the road. Take care.
Wilson, thank you so much. We will. We'll be talking again. You're great. Thank you so much.
Bye. Wilson Morales talking to Thorsten. How do you
Hey,
pronounce the last name?
Ruther, like Luther, just with R. That's it.
Okay, so we're talking about the film Uppercut, which you got a number of talent in there, including Ving Rhames, Joanna Cassidy, Luigi. How did this film come about for you?
It was, as you maybe have read, the original version was a festival opener here in Europe, and so there was some American producers who were at that festival, and they were going, okay, this is something which could be really, really interesting for America, and so we decided to evaluate it and rewrite the script and to think about the possibilities to attract talent for it. And yeah, once we had the opportunity then to forward the script to Ving Rhames, and he said, okay, that is something which could be interesting to me. We were on the path. So that is how Uppercut came, came on the path, actually.
Ving Rhames is known to be recluse. Obviously, outside of the Mission Impossible films, you don't see him in that many projects. Was he your first choice? Why so? If not the first choice, but why Ving Rhames?
He was actually definitely the first choice when I had the chance to forward that to him. I would, I was very decent. I thought, okay, I would never have thought about a superstar, actually. So we meet with our casting director, Michelle Lewitt, and she did something like Transformers and all this kind of stuff. And she goes, okay, why don't we try Ving Rhames? And I go, okay. I mean, I thought about a very, very, hopefully a very, very interesting people of color guy, whatever could that be. And I was eager to learn more about her consultation. And she goes, no, let me try Ving. It could be something for him. I'm actually not sure. So we forward the script to his management and wait some 3 or 4 weeks. I don't know how long it was. And yeah, when the management, calls me and says, okay, this is Ving Rhames management, you send us a script and we are interested, we have to talk. I was just, mind blown and thought, okay, once we have the opportunity to do this kind of stuff with that guy, it could be a chance of a lifetime, actually.
And as your lead, when you go about setting who's going to be the other cast member in there, how did you go about in getting her?
Louis or
Yes,
Joanna?
Louis.
Louis
Louis.
was playing the part in the original version as well. So I thought about the backstory, and I thought about the possibility to say, okay, wouldn't it be nice to have something like a combination of an immigrant in New York City? So to turn the coin and have her being the immigrant, and coming to that gym in that very night, and I thought it could be a very, very interesting momentum, to have this culture clash at first, but then see these two people getting curious on each other. So I thought this would be a nice momentum to have also this transatlantic thing, American German thing together. So everything, went out, and she said, yeah, I would love to do that again in a way, because it was not again, because the character evaluated a lot. And then her and Ving had the chemistry one of her kind with the first reading, which was obvious. So yeah, that was the development to say, okay, we have not only a cool front story, but also an interesting backstory.
And then, you have Joanna Cassidy in there. Obviously, she's playing the trainer. There aren't that many female trainers out there. So, what went into bringing her in as a female trainer?
Actually, she's trainer and physiotherapist. So let me say, my first vision of her was the lady with the magic hands, to make your muscles smooth again. And the idea was that this promoter guy, the promoter Toni, she would not be the lady, she would not be ringside. And so I thought, okay, this could also be with her wise lady being a very, very cool combination to Jordan E. Cooper, who was that, wild child, that kid, who is so ambitious and wants to throw everything down with his showman and performer mood. And I thought, and she loved it so much, and she said, okay, it is a cool combination for me to do, on the one hand, this pep talk stuff, which is in the movie, and then on the other hand, being ringside and being dynamic, and also a role model to these kind of women who are still so dynamic, who are still so beautiful. I love Joanna so much because she looks so beautiful, especially in that movie, and with that natural appearance. And so it was something like a really generic development in a way.
When people think about a boxing movie, they always want to see boxing scenes,
Yeah.
and the movie goes back and forth. And then a lot of it has to do with the editing. What scene are you going to leave in? It's going to make an impact. What were you hoping to accomplish when this movie is a mix of both?
Yeah, I mean, I was interested in the psychological aspect of boxing because, it is interesting. This this sport is so archaic. It reduces you to the max. It reduces you to what you really are. So I wasn't so much interested, and we weren't able to do boxing scenes like Creed or something like that. I wasn't interested in blood, sweat, and tears. So I thought this boxing stuff could be a very cool basis, could be a very cool podest for this psychological play between the characters. So we decided to go for that. And when we did the research in Los Angeles, we found a lot of these, these old Methuselah guys sitting just at the ring and, training their proteges just with something like a very tiny gesture in the face. And so I was interested to reduce it to, this very momentum. And I know that sometimes it might be the expectation to see more boxing, but what I learned is now from people who have seen the movie that it is also very attractive to see those psychological aspects and to learn more on those characters. And that's what I intended.
Having done this, what's your takeaway directing wise, that you can bring on to whatever project you do next? Is there anything new you learned technique wise or not?
I have always been an actor's director. That's also what Ving said to me. You are an actor's director. That's what I like very, very much. So, in terms of my technique, I worked here in Germany and also with this movie, always with two mobile cameras, and the camera dudes, my camera operators, have to follow the actors and not the other way around. So this is very interesting to see because, I shoot 5, sometimes 6, sometimes even 10-minute takes. And so I'll let the dialogues, evaluate. And the camera guys, they were some kind of, let me say, cautious at the beginning. But I said, okay, whatever you like, you can take a perspective which you are interested in. So we find interesting angles. We find surprising angles. Sometimes, with some gym instruments where you just see one eye of a character and not the other one, which I think is very interesting to see that clear, just one eye. So it was very, very cool to combine some of those, let me say, European styles and initiatives with an excellent, wonderful team in Los Angeles who were used to work in another direction. And so I thought this could, bring out some very interesting momentums. And yeah, I learned a lot from my American colleagues. I learned a lot from my first ADs, but I also found it interesting to bring in this something like a new innovative style with it.
Before I let you go, there's always a lot of product. There's currently a lot of product out there, whether it be in theaters or on streamers. Every week there's something, at least 10 new products out there. What's going to get an audience to come out and see Uppercut?
I think what is interesting or could be interesting is the momentum of curiosity, especially in these days. So what we wanted to show with this story is that the first impression of another person is not always the right one. And once you come to the point when you feel curious to another person, you can have sometimes something which is very thrilling, which is very interesting, and which brings you to another level. And this is the story of Uppercut. And once you are interested, once you are interested in that, and once you feel attracted by cool, maybe sometimes even quirky characters, and once you feel yourself mirrored by that, then it should be an evaluation of yours to see that movie.
Congrats on a movie. Obviously, you got a cast that people are interested in seeing. You got a story that it's worth telling. Obviously, I'm down the road. I'm sure hopefully we'll talk on your next project. Wherever you're at, take care, stay safe. We'll talk later.
Thank you very much.